Hi everyone, my name is Steven, and I'm the director at Sprout Labs. We're an agency that helps small businesses and entrepreneurs build software products. We frequently talk to people who come to us with an idea looking to build software. But building software is not actually the next step. The next step is talking to customers. The next step is understanding if other people out there actually want to pay you for the software that you're about to build. And so we advise people, if they come to us and they haven't done that, to stop and do that first. And then once you've done that, the next step still isn't to build software. Software is time consuming and expensive. Instead of spending weeks or months in thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars building software, there needs to be some better way of understanding if your idea is something that resonates with people. If your idea is something that people are willing to pay for. And we do that through building prototypes. A prototype is an interactive design. It looks like software and it behaves like software, but it's built using design tools. This lets you build prototypes in days, not weeks, and hopefully at the end of this video, something you can do yourself for free. Once you have a clickable prototype, you can get that in front of users and get a better sense for not just abstractly if they're interested in your idea, but if your implementation is something that resonates with them and solves their problem. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to build clickable prototypes using Sketch and Invision.
So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is design a prototype in Sketch. If you don't already have Sketch installed, you can go to sketch.com and sign up for a free trial. Once you do have Sketch installed, you simply open it and start a new project. What we're going to be designing today is going to look something like this. You can see this is a pretty typical web application. There's a sidebar. There might be some different navigation items you can click on. You have this top sort of profile view, and at the bottom, some information about your company. And on the right, there's the body. And since we're on the team page, there's a team header. And if we were to click on the schedule page, we'd get a schedule header. So that's what we're going to work on. We're going to do that from scratch. So here it's just an empty sketchboard as if I created a brand new project. The first thing we're going to do is add an artboard. So to do that, as you just saw, you just go to Insert, Artboard, and we have to pick, since we're doing a web application, we need to pick what screen size we want to target. I'm just going to select desktop for now, and that'll throw in an artboard. So here's our artboard. I like to think of building interfaces as simply putting rectangles on top of rectangles. We know we need a sidebar over on the left, so we're going to go up here, Insert, Shape, Rectangle. And we're going to drag that onto the page. And we're going to make this 300 pixels wide. And we know we need a body over on the right, so we're also going to do that. We're going to drag that over. And this is 724 pixels wide. We can remove the fill and the border from our body, and we can change the fill of our sidebar to something a little darker, and we can remove the border there. Okay, so that's starting to look like what we want. Next thing, I'm going to insert a line over on the body side, which you can see over here is sort of a separator from the header and everything else. We know our width is 724. I want to have 30 pixels of padding on each side. So we do 724 minus 60. The width of our line needs to be 664. So we can do that. I can click on the line. Oops, let me undo that. Okay, so it's 664. And we can have Sketch help us center that, just like that. Now we can see it's 122 pixels high. I'm just going to go ahead and make that 100. Let's try 150. That seems a little high. Okay, great. So now we can insert some text by just coming over here, selecting text and dropping it on. The font is Open Sans, which is what I want, and the font weight is bold, which is also what I want. And 48 pixels font size seems about right. So I think this is good. I can say header, and I can drag it over. I can align it to the left of that line and put it 50 pixels above the line. Maybe let's do 40. There we go. So now we have a header. So now let's go over here and work on the sidebar. If we look, the sidebar, there's also a line and it's even with the line over on the body. So let's go ahead and do that. Sketch again helps us out, just like that. Okay, so our width of the sidebar is 300 pixels. I want to say have 15 pixel width on each side. So that means our line needs to be 270 long. And I want to center that. So I'm going to oops. I didn't want to do that. I want to do that. I want to center that. So I'm just going to click it. That took a little while and center it. Perfect. Stop. Start. As you've noticed, as we've added new elements to the page, Sketch will just list them over here on the left. To make it a bit easier to use, we can group them. So here we have our body rectangle, our line, and our body, and our header. We can right-click that and say Group Selection. Then we can rename this group Body. And we can do the same thing for the sidebar. Select both, Group Selection, and then we'll rename that sidebar. Perfect. So now that's a little bit easier to manage over on the left. If we go back to our final board, we can see that here, this top section represents sort of a profile. And so this circle could be a profile picture and then a username. Let's go ahead and do that on our working board. We're going to insert an oval. We're just going to draw that on the page, zoom in a little bit. And now we can change the width. I want it to be a circle. Perhaps we can just try out 30 by 30 for now. That seems a little small. So let's do 40 by 40. Okay, that seems better. You can see over here on the left, Sketch dropped it in, but it didn't put it in the sidebar. So let's just drag that down. Now that we're in the group, I get some nice indicators. Great. And then I'll insert some text to the left of it. This is going to be the username. It probably doesn't need to be bold. We can make that semi-bold, and it definitely should be 48. Let's make that 24. And I'll just type in my typical username. We don't want it to be black text because that would be kind of hard to read, so let's just make that white. Great. Now we can align it against our picture. Perfect. Let's zoom out. That's looking pretty good. Next thing we want to do is to add our navigation items. If we look at the final board, you can see that there's some icons used here, here, and here. Sketch doesn't have icons that you can add by default, but there are a lot of Sketch stop. Start. Sketch doesn't have any icons that you can simply insert built in, but there are a lot of Sketch libraries online that you can use to find icons. One of my favorite libraries of icons is called Font Awesome. And so let's go back to our browser and we're just going to Google Font Awesome Sketch. So here you can see there's a Font Awesome 5 sketch library. I'm going to click on that to download. I'll go ahead and download it. Amazing. I'll open that up. And I'll just click this guy here. So now what's just happened is there's this library of tons and tons of different icons that we can use. If we look at this regular set of icons, you can see there's some for, there's people, there's this mail icon, send, calendar, snooze, notifications, lots and lots of different icons. So let's go back to what we have. The two navigation items we want to create are team and schedule. So I'm going to insert some text over here. I'm just going to call that team. And then I'm going to go over to the sketch library we just downloaded. I'm going to select this people icon. I'm just going to Control-C copy it and then paste it in. Now this is pretty big, but we can make it smaller. We're just going to say 15 by 15. We're going to drag it in place. We want to change the color, so we're just going to make it white. Great. Okay, so now we have an icon next to our navigation item. This icon seems a little small, so what if we just make that 20 by 20? That's a little bit better. Okay. So now we need to figure out where we want to put it on this page. If we line it up right next to the edge of the line, then we're not going to be able to put a border around it. What I want is something that looks like this. So let's this time insert a rounded shape. And we can change this color to be something just a little brighter. That looks fine. Let's go ahead and change, let's go ahead and remove the border. Okay. So now we have this rounded rectangle. It's lined up against both edges of the line, which is what we want. Let's make it a little smaller. We'll make it 50 pixels high. Then we can align our icon inside of it. So we'll put this at the 30 mark, and then we'll move over and put the team text 10 pixels to the left. And I'm going to make this text a little smaller, 21, and recenter that. So let's back up a little bit. That looks really good. This icon is maybe a little big, so I'm just going to come back. Let's try 18 by 18. Maybe 15 by 15 now will work. So I want to put that back where it was. Move that over. Perfect. Now, since we're on the header page, we can change this text to say team, or since we're on the team page, I should say. Center that there. There we go. Now to create the schedule view, we can just copy this whole item. It's a little bit difficult to copy because there's a few different symbols involved. So we're just going to group them like we did before. We're going to group, and we'll just call this navigation item. Now we can just Control C, and then I guess I should say Command V, and then Command C, then Command V. Now we can just copy and paste our navigation item, drag that down, and we have a second item. Let's go ahead and change this to schedule. We can remove this fill because it's not what we're on. And let's change the icon by hopping over to the Font Awesome library that we're using. Here's a nice calendar icon, copying that over. Oops, copied the wrong one. Let's go back. There we go. We're going to make this 15 by 15, and we're going to change the color such that it's white. Now let's zoom in. There's our icon. Let's move that over. We can drag it over on the left under the navigation item, delete the user, and there we go. So now we have team and schedule. I also had some company information over here at the bottom. Let's just add that really quickly. We're going to put some text, and our company name is Acme Company. Can make this text bigger. Just like that, and then drag it over. Move this over to the sidebar. Perhaps 36 is too big. Let's make this 28. Great. It's the name of the company, so let's go ahead and make this bold. Looks good to me. A few more links underneath the company name. You can have an About Us link. Going to make this small, and we're also going to underline it such that it looks like a link. And it doesn't need to be bold. It can simply be a regular text. Put that underneath, and we can have a Contact Us link. Contact Us. And now let's go ahead and just click on both of these, drag them into the sidebar. Perfect. Let's make some micro adjustments here. Let's make sure that this is aligned over to the line. So we know that it needs to be starting at 15x. So we'll move that over. Put this 10 under, 10 under, and we'll just drag the whole thing down a little bit. Select the Contact Us, select all those, and just drag it down. Just like that. That's looking really good. The last thing we need is a little indicator here to just show that this could be a drop-down. So let's jump back over to our Font Awesome library. Here's a little drop-down indicator right here. We can copy and paste that. Again, we'll make it 15 by 15. And we'll change the color to white. And let's just drag that up. Like that in the sidebar. So we get some nice indicators. And we can put it right there. It's probably a bit too much space from the header. It doesn't need to be 150. Let's try 100. Maybe that's a bit too small, so let's meet in the middle and say 125. Looks good to me. Now we just need to come over here and put this at 125, and then select our items and move those up a little bit. Put that at 40. Great. Maybe move that down just a little bit. I think it'll look a little bit nicer. Move this down. Perfect. Great. I'm really liking how that's looking. We could make this a little bigger, maybe 25 by 25. Amazing. If you go back to what it's supposed to look like, I think that's pretty close. Now we want a second screen to represent this schedule view. So we can just select the entire desktop, copy and paste it. Now we have it over here to the side. Let's change this text to just say schedule. And then let's add this fill back. And we can remove this fill. Great, so now it looks like we're on the schedule page, our header has changed, it says schedule. Perfect, so we can just continue going down this route, building out this prototype. If we want to stop here and we want to make it clickable, now what we can do is we can upload it to Invision. And so Invision, let's go to Invision. Invision is a tool that lets us upload sketch files or screenshots, add hotspots on top of them, and then build it in such a way that it feels like we're interacting with the application. So if you don't have an Invision account, you go ahead and sign up for one. I'm going to click sign in. I'm already logged in. Great, so this is my Invision account. I have some other examples of applications that I've built. I'm going to click this plus. I'm going to create a new prototype, and I'm just going to call it demo. It is a desktop, and I'm going to create. Takes a little bit. Okay. So here we can sync our sketch files, or we can drag and drop a PNG or a JPEG. I found that syncing sketch files is hit or miss. So instead, what we're going to do is we're actually just going to take a screenshot of what we have here. So I'm going to use the Mac OS screenshot tool to click and drag and take a screenshot. Great. And you go over back to Sketch, and I'm going to upload that screenshot to Sketch. And I'm going to do the same thing for this schedule page. Click and drag, create a screenshot, upload that to Sketch. Great, so now if we view this screen, we can click on it, and this is what we have. And if we look at our next screen, it says schedule. Great, so now we want to add some hotspots to it, and this is actually quite easy. Just need to go to build mode, and now your cursor has this plus sign, and you can just click and drag and create a hotspot. You click that and it says select the destination. Let's send it to our other screenshot and hit save. Go to view mode. If we click it, now we're in the other screenshot. And if we build here and we add a hotspot to team, we can send it back to our other screenshot. So now we can click schedule, and it looks like we're on the schedule page. And we click team, and we're back on the team page. And what we can do is we can build out an application in Sketch, upload it to Invision, add hotspots on top of it, and make it look like using hotspots that we actually have a real application. All we've done is design in Sketch and take screenshots and upload them, but we can give it to users and put it in front of people and actually have them click around as they would a normal app and just see how it works. We can add, perhaps another hotspot down here, and we can say, we can link it back to an external URL, say like google.com or something, save it. Oh, I want to go to the team page. I click team. I want to know more about the company. I can click that. And we can take them to a help page or a contact us page. And so this is a really quick and easy way to build a prototype, make it clickable, get it in front of users, and start getting feedback on what you've built. We do this before we ever build any software because it's much faster and it's much cheaper to do. And as we just saw, anybody can do it. It takes a little bit of getting familiar with Sketch. It takes some getting familiar with Invision, but it doesn't really take much. And once you reach that level of familiarity, you can design prototypes, you can make them clickable through Invision, get it in front of users, and start validating your idea and your product. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Bye.